Hello and welcome Year 8 to your Art and Design home learning for this week. For this lesson, I am going to be reading through the following instructions. So the first thing you're going to need to do on this PowerPoint attached to class charts is to read slide 2. Then you are going to copy the 3 keywords onto your learning log. Once you have read slide 2, you're then going to look at slides 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. If possible, also watch the video. There is a hyperlink attached to the slides that will then link to the video on YouTube. Once you have completed that, then have a look at the last slide, which shows your MRI instructions for this lesson. On a fresh page in your sketchbook, you will need to write the title MRI lesson and perhaps add in today's date. Remember, because you are at home, you will not have an MRI sheet, so don't worry. You can just copy the sentences of the things you would have highlighted it if you had the sheet. Once that is completed, then you'll spend the remainder of your lesson on working onto those MRI tasks and those focuses that you identify this lesson. Remember, you're looking at about 50 minutes in total. And when you've completed your 50 minutes today, you have finished the lesson. Well done. There is a homework task set at the end of this lesson. Your homework is to then complete your artist research and then upload it onto class charts. And on class charts, you will find a homework that you'll have to upload to. So let's have a look at the rest of the slides now. So you can see here, these are our keywords for today: to improve, develop and refine. And your objectives for this lesson are to identify your current levels of skill in art using some graded examples and to understand how to improve and refine your work this lesson. And whatever you don't finish, you finish and then upload for your homework on class charts. So first of all, we'll have a look at these examples here on the slides. So here I have a grade 1 and a grade 2. Notice how the grade 1 example is very, very simple indeed. And hopefully you can see that on there. Very, very simple. The grade 2 example does have some writing on it, which you can see, some information, some very simple semi-analysis, and a very simple emulation, which is this one over here. So those are grade 1 and 2. Grade 3, have a look at this one. Again, think about your artist research. Does your artist research, or will your artist research, look like this when it's done? So we've got a clear title, some images, an emulation done with some skill, and we have our semi-analysis. That's a grade 3. Here's now a grade 4. Notice the difference between this here, which is a grade 4, okay, and this, which is the grade 3. You should see a jump in presentation. You should see a jump in the amount of information that's shown on this sheet, and also a jump in the way that this page has a very clear emulation. And this is on the left-hand side of this artist research page. Finally, with year 8, a grade 5. This example was done on the artist Yelena James. And you can see here we have got the following. For a grade 5, a very clear artistic title. There's colour done within the background. The presentation is very unique and replicates the work of the artist, which you can see. In terms of emulations, there's collage work, there's pen work over here. There's lots of overlapped collage that kind of comes across the page. There's keywords throughout. There's semi-analysis throughout. And overall, it's visually appealing, and that's for a grade 5. And that will be the top end of what I'd see in a year 8. So start from the beginning. We've got these grade 1s, grade 2s. Notice how that as I flick through the pages, the presentation, the amount of work, the standard of work, it goes up and up and up. So hopefully you can see that. Now, on every slide, there is a link, which you can just see on here, okay, to the video that shows you these. So if you want to watch this, you're very welcome to. So what you've got to do now is you've got to decide on where you think you are at. So in your sketchbook, make sure you turn to your next available page, add the title MRI lesson and today's date. Remember, this isn't. Then you can't do this. So what you can do instead is have a look at this, and you're going to write out the sentence that applies to you, or sentences. So for instance, if you feel your work is around a grade 4 or a grade 3, you would then copy that information from that, and you'd put that inside your sketchbook. Okay. So maybe you're feeling, you know what, I think I'm in a 3 or grade 3 or a 3 minus or a 3 plus. So you would then write underneath your title and today's date, I have some images, semi-annotation, and start to make an emulation using moderate skills. I developed some presentation techniques. So if you think that applies to you, you'd write that out, highlight it in green pen, because remember, it is an MRI, and then you have made your judgment. This is how you feel your work will be at the end, once it's all finished. When your artist research is done, where do you think it would be in terms of grade? And it is a self-assessment, so try your best on that one. Once you've self-assessed the grade that you think you're at, and you've written a sentence and the grade, then you can go on to tell me, well, what is it that you want to get done today? So directly underneath that statement, tell me, right, today I'm going to do a semi, I'm going to finish my semi analysis. I didn't quite add enough detail to it. It may be that you want to check SPAG. It may be you want to include more printed images, create another emulation, which is shown in here. So you can do multiples of these. So you probably will have more than one. Have them listed underneath on this MRI page, and then you can tick them off as you go through them. And then finally, on the right-hand side there is your traffic lights. If you think you've done a lot of effort onto this artist research page, a lot of work, then highlight all 3. If you think you've done a good job, you think you've done well on this, highlight 2. And if you think, oh, I could have done a little bit better, then highlight the 1. Then for the rest of the lesson, you will then access and act on these MRI targets to improve your artist research. And finally, don't forget to submit your work when it is done onto the homework section on class charts.